Morning everyone, so we're on to part 3 of the Two Brothers story for the Egyptian folklore, and I hope you had a good day yesterday. Many days went past. Then on a morning when Bata had gone forth to hunt, as was his custom, his wife went out to walk below the acacia which was high to the house. The sea spirit beheld her in all of her beauty and caused his billows to pursue her. Hastily she ran away and returned to the house, where the sea spirit sprang and sang to the acacia, "Oh, would she that were mine!" The acacia heard and cast the sea spirit a lock of the girl's wife's hair. The sea bore it away towards the land of Egypt and unto the place where the washers of the king cleansed the royal garments. Such sweet smelling was the fragrance of the lock of hair, and that it perfumed the linen of the king. There were disputes among the washers because the royal garments smelt of ointment. None could anyone could discover what the secret was. The king told them off. Then the heart of the chief washer, in sore distress because of the words which were spoken daily to him regarding the smell of the clothing, he went down to the seashore. He stood at the place which was opposite the floating lock of hair, and he beheld it at length and caused it to be carried to him. Sweet was its fragrance, and he hastened to the king. The king summoned before him his scribes, and they told him, "Look, it is the lock of hair from the divine daughter of Ra, and is gifted upon you from a distant land. Command that the messengers be sent abroad to seek for her. Let many men go with the one who is sent to the valley of the flowering acacia, so that they may bring the woman to you." The king answered and said, "Wise are your words, and they are pleasant to me." So messengers were sent abroad unto all the lands, and those who journeyed to the valleys of the flowering acacia returned not, because Beta slew them all. The king had no knowledge of what had happened to them, though. The king sent forth more messengers and many soldiers also, so that the girl might be brought to him. He sent a woman, and she was laden with rare ornaments, and the wife of Bata came back with her. There was great rejoicing in the land of Egypt. Dearly did the king love the divine girl, and he exalted her because of her beauty. He prevailed upon her to reveal the secrets of her husband, and the king then said, "Let the acacia be cut down and splintered into pieces." Workmen began, and warriors were sent abroad, and they reached the acacia. They severed it from the highest blossom, in which the soul of Bata was concealed. The petals scattered, and Bata dropped down dead. A new day dawned, and the land grew bright. The acacia was then cut down. Meanwhile, Anpu, the elder brother of Bata, went into his house, and he sat down and washed his hands. He was given beer to drink, and it bubbled, and the wine had a foul smell. He seized his staff, put on his shoes and his garment, and armed himself for his journey, remembering what task he had to do, and departed into the valley of the flowering acacia. He reached the house of Bata. He found the young man lying dead upon a mat. He wept because of that, but he went out to search for the soul of his brother at the place where the flowering acacia stood. Bata wanted to lie down to rest at evening tide, and for 3 years he continued his search, and when the 4th year came, his heart yearned greatly to return to the land of Egypt, and at length he said, "I shall depart tomorrow." A new day came, and the land grew bright. He looked over the ground again, and at the place of the acacia for his brother's soul, the time was spent. In the evening he continued his quest also, and he found a seed which he carried to the house. And, lo and behold, the soul of his brother was in it. He dropped the seed into the vessel, filled with cold water, and sat down, as was his custom at the evening. Night came on, and the soul absorbed the water. The limbs of Bata quivered, and his eyes opened, and gazed upon his elder brother, but his heart was without feeling. Anpu raised the vessel which contained the soul to his lips of Bata, and he drank the water. Thus did his soul return to its place, and Bata was as he had been before. The brothers embraced and spoke one to another. Bata said, "Now I must become a mighty bull with every sacred mark. None will know my secret. Ride thou upon my back, and when the day breaks I shall be at the place where my wife is. Unto her I must speak. Lead me before the king, and thou shalt find favour in his eyes. The people will wonder when they behold me, and shout welcome, but thou must return unto your own home." The Brothers, Part 4. A new day dawned and the land grew bright. Bata was a bull and Anpu sat on his back, and they drew close to the royal dwelling. The king was made glad, and he said, "This is indeed a miracle." There was much rejoicing throughout the land. Silver and gold were given to the elder brother, and he went away to his own home and waited there. In time, the sacred bull stood in a holy place, and the beautiful girl wife was there. Bata spoke to her, saying, "Look thou upon me, where I stand, for look, I am still alive." Then the woman said, "Who are you, though?" The bull made answer, "I am Bata. It was you who did cause the acacia to be cut down. It was you who did reveal unto the Pharaoh that my soul had been dwelling in the highest blossom, so that it might be destroyed, and I might cease to be. But I live on, and I have become a sacred bull." The woman trembled. Fear possessed her heart when Bata spoke to her in this manner. She at once went out of the holy place. It chanced that the king sat by her side at the feast and made merry, for he loved her dearly. She spoke, saying, "Promise before the god that you will do what I ask of you." His Majesty took a vow to grant her the wish of her heart and said, "It is my desire to eat the liver of the sacred bull, for he is nothing to you." Sorrowful was the king then, and his heart was troubled because of the words which she said. A new day dawned, and the land grew bright. Then the king commanded that the bull should be offered as a sacrifice. One of the king's chief servants went out, and when the bull was held high upon the shoulders of the two people, he cut its neck, and it cast 2 drops of blood towards the gate of the palace, and 1 drop fell upon the right side and 1 upon the left. There grew up in the night 2 stately Persian trees from where the drops of blood had fallen. This great miracle was told to the king, and the people rejoiced and made offers of water and fruit to the sacred trees. A day came when his Majesty rode forth in his golden chariot. He wore his collar of lapis lazuli. Around his neck was a garland of flowers. The girl wife was with him, and he caused her to stand below one of the trees, and it whispered to her, "You false woman, I am still alive. I am even Bata, who you did wrong. It was you who caused the acacia to be cut down. It was you who caused the sacred bull to be slain, so that I might cease to be." Many days went past, and the woman sat with the king at the feast, and he loved her dearly. She said, "Promise me now before the god that you will do what I ask of you." His Majesty made a vow to promise, and she said, "It is my desire that the Persia trees be cut down, so that 2 fair seats be made of them." As she desired, so it was done. The king commanded that the trees should be cut down by skilled workmen, and the fair woman went out to watch. As she stood there, a small chip of wood entered her mouth, and she swallowed it. After many days, a son was born to her, and he was brought before the king, and one said, "Unto thee a son is born." A nurse and servants were appointed to watch over the babe. There was great rejoicing throughout the land when the time came to name the girl's wife's son. The king made merry, and from that hour he loved the child, and he appointed him Prince of Ethiopia. Many days went past, and then the king chose him to be heir to the kingdom. In time his Majesty fulfilled his years, and he died, and his soul flew to the heavens. The new king, Bata, then said, "Summon before me the great men of my court, some that I may now reveal upon them all that has befallen me and the truth concerning the queen." His wife was then brought before him. He revealed himself unto her, and she was judged before the great men, and they confirmed the sentence. Anpu was summoned before his Majesty, and he was chosen to be the royal heir. When Bata had reigned for 30 years, he came to his death, and on the day of his burial, his elder brother stood in his place. The end. And that is the story of the 2 brothers of Egypt. I hope you've enjoyed that. Have a lovely day, and we will have a new Egyptian story tomorrow. Bye.